how are you all? So last class we have started the lesson nutrition and I told you about carbohydrates and the various types of carbohydrates. Children, I hope you all understood. Okay, today I will go to the next nutrient, fats. So what are fats? In addition to carbohydrates, our diet also should contain fats. Okay children, fats are also essential nutrients which are required in less amount but they produce more energy. So these are also important constituents of our diet. Children, compared to carbohydrates, fats are taken in less amounts. Fats are taken in less amounts and they are also energy giving foods. Fats are also energy giving foods just like carbohydrates. Okay children, and compared to carbohydrates and proteins, I told you they release 4 kilocalories of energy per gram. Whereas fats, even though they are taken in less amounts, they release around 9 kilocalories of energy per gram. So fats are energy giving foods, they are consumed in less amounts and they are very important sources of energy just like carbohydrates. They release more energy, approximately 9 kilocalories of energy. Next, what are the uses of fats? Before I go to uses, what are the sources children? Tell me. So what kind of foods contain fats? All the oils like groundnut oil, soya bean, sunflower oil. So all kinds of vegetable oils are rich in fats. And all the dairy products like butter, cheese, milk are also rich in fats. And also meat, egg also contain fats. Now, what are the uses of fats? Uses. Fats, as I told you, they release energy. Children, just like carbohydrates, fats release energy. In addition to energy, fat acts as an important solvent for various vitamins like vitamin A, D, E and K. Later I will tell you about vitamins where you have fat soluble vitamins. So what are the various fat soluble vitamins A, D, E and K? So these vitamins are soluble in fats. So fats provide a solvent, a medium for these vitamins. Next, fats are stored in the skin. We can say fats are the stored form of energy. They have, it is a storage form of energy. So whenever we need energy, excess of fats are burnt to give you energy. So where are the fats stored in the skin? You have different layers of skin. Like you have the outermost layer, then you have inner layer of muscles. So between the outer layer of skin and muscles, you have the layer of fats. And these cells which store fats are called adipose cells. So in between the layers of skin and muscles, you have different layers of fats. Fats are stored in between these layers. Okay children? And the cells where fat is stored is called adipose cells or tissues. So what does this fat do? So the fats present in between the layers of skin, they act as an insulating layer. They prevent from escape of body heat. Indirectly, fats maintain body temperature. Children, fats, they maintain body temperature. They prevent from loss of heat. So these are the uses of fats. Next important nutrients are proteins. Children, what kind of foods are rich in proteins? Yes, proteins are found in all kinds of pulses, okay, and they are found in vegetables, fruits, mainly pulses. They are found in pulses. So these proteins are body building foods. So proteins are called body building foods. Proteins are found even in meat, okay, meat, egg, etc. So you have vegetarian sources and non-vegetarian sources. Proteins are very, very important for developing your immunity. As I told you, proteins help in building the body building nutrients as they bring about growth of muscles and other cells. Apart from building up our body, proteins are very important for building up. Apart from body building, proteins are very important to maintain our immunity. Okay, children? So these proteins help in maintaining our body. I told you, when I say body building, proteins help in growth. Apart from growth, proteins are important for repair of lost body parts. Or you can say lost cells and tissues. Okay. So like this, proteins play a very important role in the development of the body and also in the repair of the lost or worn out cells and tissues. Now, what are these proteins made up of? Children, I forgot fats. Already I told you carbohydrates are made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Similarly, fats are also made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Now coming to the proteins, proteins are also made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. In addition to this, they also contain nitrogen, sulfur and phosphorus. Okay. So in addition to carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, proteins also contain nitrogen, sulfur and phosphorus. So these are the various elements that constitute proteins. Proteins are large molecules which are broken down or which are digested in the body into simpler units called amino acids. So children, just like carbohydrates and fats, even proteins are to be digested. Okay, they are taken through external source of food. By external source, when they are consumed, they are digested by various enzymes into simpler substances called amino acids. Now what happens if your diet is lacking proteins, or if a child or if a person does not provide sufficient proteins? So what happens to that child? Yes? Yeah. So you have two types of protein deficiency diseases. So when proteins are lacking in the diet, or when the diet is deficient in proteins, we usually observe two kinds of diseases. One is kwashiorkor, two diseases. There are two. One is kwashiorkor. First disease is kwashiorkor. Kwashiorkor is called Sukha Rog. It is mainly seen in Africa, where the young children between the age of 1 to 5 years usually suffer from this disease. I repeat, when the diet is lacking proteins, children usually suffer with two diseases. Those are called protein deficiency diseases. The first one is kwashiorkor. It is called Sukha Rog in Hindi. It was first identified in Africa, where the mother delivers children continuously. For example, after the child is born, you know children, what is the immediate source of protein for the newborn child? Yes, mother's milk. Mother's milk is rich in proteins. Okay, the child has to be fed with the mother's milk in order to prevent with kwashiorkor. But what happens is, when the second child is born, the first child or the elder child is left, now the second child is given mother's milk, whereas the first or the elder child is in the weaning stage. That means the child is, there is a failure in providing mother's milk, he is shifted to carbohydrate diet. So the protein diet is lacking in that first child as mother stopped feeding him because of the second child. As a result, the child between this age of 1 to 5, as he is eating more carbohydrate rich food, his diet is lacking or there is deficiency of proteins. The body is not getting required amounts of proteins. As a result, the child will be suffering from malnutrition. Children, the term malnutrition means it's a condition where a person suffers due to the lack of any of the nutrients in the diet. It may be malnutrition to proteins or lack of proteins, or malnutrition may be a condition due to lack of carbohydrates or any of the vitamins or whatever may be. So the first child, as he is not getting mother's milk, as he shifted from mother's milk to the natural source of food which is not having proteins, he will suffer from kwashiorkor. Now, what are the symptoms of this disease? The child is not getting proteins. I told you proteins are useful for bodybuilding. So the body is not receiving proteins, so you have stunted growth. So kwashiorkor, the child will not grow properly, stunted growth. Okay, then you have edema condition, edema that means accumulation of water in the tissues, swelling, especially face and legs. Okay, more water gets accumulated in between the cells. As a result, that part appears to be swollen. The swollen condition of any part of the body is said to be edemic or edema. So, a child suffering from kwashiorkor has stunted growth, very poor growth, okay, and he have accumulation of water, edema mainly in the face and legs. Then he has disproportionate body, like protruding stomach. Stomach will be bulged, degeneration of the thinning of the muscles or less growth, protruding stomach, edema. So all these are diarrhea, etc. So these are the symptoms observed in a person suffering from kwashiorkor. Apart from this, the skin becomes dark and scale. The skin becomes dark and scale, and he will not feel like eating. Loss of appetite. He doesn't feel hungry. That's called loss of appetite. Scaly skin. So all these are the symptoms of kwashiorkor. It is seen in young children of the age 1 to 5 years. And kwashiorkor is a protein deficiency disease. Children, one more is this child will have enlarged liver also. Enlarged liver. And sometimes he may look even anemic. He looks anemic also. Loss of hemoglobin. So these are the symptoms. Now second disease is marasmus. First one is kwashiorkor. I told you, protruding belly, scaly skin, darkening, stunted and poor growth. There is no body building proteins available, so you will not have a proper growth of the body. Very short structure. Only some parts like face and legs are swollen. Now coming to the second disease, marasmus. It is caused due to the deficiency of all the three nutrients: proteins, carbohydrates and fats. And it is seen in very early stage. Marasmus is found in infants. Below the age of 1 year. Children, the main difference between kwashiorkor and marasmus is here you find edema, I told you, swollen face and legs. But here there is no edema. The skin becomes dark and scaly. Here the skin becomes loose and folded. Instead of scaly, the skin becomes loose and folded. And here there is no degeneration of muscles actually. Muscles are present compared to marasmus. But here the muscles become very thin. So the limbs become very thin and weak. Okay, the limbs become very thin and weak, and very poor growth is observed in marasmus. Very skinny growth. The ribs are very prominent. The child looks very weak because of mainly degeneration of muscles, and the ribs become very prominent. But there is no swollen condition, just like kwashiorkor, no edemic condition. Edema is found only here. There is no edema. So these are the main differences between kwashiorkor and marasmus. Okay, children? So we finished fats, we finished proteins. Now we'll come to the mineral salts. So what are the various minerals essential for the body? In addition to carbohydrates, proteins and fats, we also require certain minerals. And you know, minerals and vitamins, they are minor constituents. They are smaller molecules which are directly absorbed by the body. Whereas carbohydrates and proteins and fats, they need to be digested. For example, fats are digested to fatty acids and glycerol. Proteins are digested already, I told you, into amino acids. Carbohydrates are again broken down into simple sugar, glucose. Whereas minerals and vitamins are minor constituents which are easily absorbable, and there is no need of digestion because they are simpler substances. Now, what are various minerals essential for our body? So, some of the important minerals are calcium. You have calcium, magnesium, iron, iodine. So, you have actually two categories of minerals. Minerals which are needed in larger quantities, minerals needed in smaller quantities. Macro and micro. Children, I will discuss only few of them, remaining you can study from the table. Most important mineral is calcium. So, children, calcium is very, very important for our bones and teeth, you all know. Is it not, children? And calcium is found in milk, wheat, all kinds of vegetables, okay, egg, and most of the vitamins. Most of the vegetables also contain calcium. So these are the non-vegetarian diet. If it is vegetarian diet, then you have to take beans, cabbage, etc. Okay, some of the green leafy vegetables also contain calcium. Okay, so calcium is first mineral which is important for our bones and teeth. So these are the sources. Children's sources you can learn from the table. Now, what are the uses of this? So, calcium is very important constituent of bones and teeth. Okay, children. Actually, calcium along with second one, phosphorus. Both of them together form salts, and they make up they strengthen the bones. So the diet rich in calcium and phosphorus, both are needed for the bones and strengthening of bones and teeth. Okay. So teeth, especially enamel. Children, what is enamel? Yeah, it's the hardest substance in your body, and it's the white shiny substance present on the surface of the teeth. So calcium forms an important source for the development for strong bones and teeth. Now coming to the next ion, phosphorus. Phosphorus is another important source found in banana, potato, etc. Okay, and it is very important for the formation of energy-rich compounds like ATP and ADP. ATP. ATP is adenosine triphosphate and NADP is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. These are energy-rich molecules formed during cellular respiration. So, if you observe these molecules, they contain phosphorus. So, children, apart from strengthening bones and teeth, or apart from phosphorus being important constituent for overall development of bones and teeth, phosphorus is also important for formation of energy-rich molecules, mainly ATP and NADP. Okay. Next. Now you have deficiency diseases also. Children, if calcium is less or if there is deficiency. So just like protein deficiency diseases you have seen, Kwashiorkor and Marasmus. So if your body is or if your diet is deficient in any of these minerals or vitamins, then also some of the diseases are caused. Those are called mineral deficiency diseases or vitamin deficiency diseases. So, if calcium is lacking in your diet, then that leads to a disease called rickets, mainly in children, where the bones become very soft and they bend like a bow. Sometimes both the knees get joined. Okay, children? So, rickets is calcium deficiency disorder seen in children where the bones become very soft and they bend bow shaped and sometimes the knees also come closer. This is caused due to the lack of calcium. Okay. So calcium and phosphorus, I told you, important for bones and teeth. Now next important is iodine. Children, you know that your body requires iron. So some of the sources, iron is rich in again all green leafy vegetables, meat, egg, etc. And iron is very, very important for the formation of hemoglobin. So iron rich food. Children, green leafy vegetables are very, very rich in iron. So what is hemoglobin? Already you know. So hemoglobin is a respiratory pigment found in red blood cells. So children, if iron is actually helping in formation of hemoglobin, we all should have required amounts of hemoglobin in our blood. Otherwise, that leads to a disease called anemia. So, lack of iron, deficiency of iron in the diet leads to anemia. So what happens if a person becomes anemic? The HB count becomes low. As a result, the red blood cells lose their ability to transport oxygen because hemoglobin is very important for the transport of respiratory gases. Okay, children? So that's about iron. Next important mineral ion is iodine. So, iodine is mainly found in salt and all the vegetables also rich in iodine. So, nowadays we are advised to take iodized salt. So, what is the use of this iodine? It is also one of the important mineral ion. Children, you all know in the neck region you have trachea. On either side of the trachea, you have a gland called thyroid gland in the neck region. And this thyroid gland present in the neck region secretes a hormone called thyroxine. So, for the functioning of thyroid gland, one needs iodine. So, iodine is very important for the functioning of thyroid gland or for the secretion of thyroxine. Okay, children? And what happens if our diet is lacking iodine? So, iodine deficiency causes a disease called goiter in adults, where the thyroid gland is swollen and forms a ball-like structure in the neck region. Whereas in children, it causes a disease called cretinism. I repeat, iodine deficiency causes two diseases, goiter and cretinism. Goiter is seen in adults and cretinism is seen in children. So, goiter, enlargement of the thyroid gland. Cretinism, where it is seen in children where you have poor mental and physical growth, mainly mental retardation, stunted growth, small stature is observed in children due to the lack of iodine. So children, what are the various minerals we discussed? Calcium, phosphorus, very important for strengthening your bones and teeth. Okay. Then next, we also discussed about iron, very important for the formation of hemoglobin. Then next, we came to iodine, an important constituent for functioning of thyroid gland. Okay. Now next important are sodium. So sodium again is found in table salt. Along with sodium you also have chlorine ions also. Table salt, sodium chloride. This is very important for maintaining acid-base equilibrium, maintaining ionic balance in our body. Okay. Then next is potassium. Potassium is very important for muscular and nerve activity. It's very important for muscular and nerve activity. Okay, and especially conduction of impulses. Children, this is neuron. So impulses are conducted. So potassium ions help in nerve activity. Potassium ions help in nerve activity. And these potassium ions are very important for secretion of. So they also secrete. Children, here at the synapse, you have a neurotransmitter known as acetylcholine. So potassium actually helps in the conduction of nerve impulse received from cell body along the axon. And once it comes to the synapse, these ions also help in the secretion of a neurotransmitter. It is a chemical substance which helps in the transmission of the impulse from one neuron to another neuron. One example of neurotransmitter is acetylcholine. Acetylcholine. So, potassium ions are very important for muscular activity. What happens if sodium is lacking? Sodium is very essential, I said here, for maintaining acid balance equilibrium. So, it will cause muscular cramps, etc. Some people will have stiffness in the toes and fingers. So, that is all caused due to sodium. If potassium ions are deficient in your diet, then it will obstruct the conduction of nerve impulse. The nerve activity or the muscular activity will be decreased. Now, next, so we finished minerals, calcium, phosphorus, then iron, then iodine, sodium and potassium. You have some more mineral ions like cobalt, manganese, magnesium. You can go through the textbook. Now coming to the next important constituents are vitamins. Vitamins. Children, vitamins were first discovered by Casimir Funk in the year 19. He is called father of vitamins. Along with him, there are many more scientists who has discovered many more vitamins. But the chemical nature of vitamins was first observed by Funk. Therefore, Casimir Funk is called father of vitamins. So, the word vitamin actually comes from the word vitamine. Vital plus amine. So, Funk said, this man in the year 1912, children, nowadays we all are eating brown rice. So, you have polished rice and brown rice. Can you tell me what is the difference between brown rice and polished rice? Yeah, polished rice contain husk, the outermost, the brown rice contain husk. It is unpolished rice on the top of the grains. And Funk found in this husk of brown rice there is a vital amine compound. So vital means important constituent. So he said some important constituent, and that constituent he observed that belongs to amino compounds, the chemical nature. That important amino compound was first observed in the brown rice by Funk. And later he has named that constituent as vitamin, later became vitamin. Okay, children, and the credit goes to Funk, so therefore he is called father of vitamins. Today we are eating polished rice. Polished rice is lacking some of the vitamins. So today if you observe what kind of vitamins was observed in the brown rice, mainly vitamin B1, thiamine was observed in brown rice. So that's about the discovery. Into how many categories? So vitamins are important constituents or chemical substances which are provided to the body in less quantities, but they are very important for the healthy growth of the overall body, for well functioning of the body, for healthy nature of the body. We need vitamins. Okay. Now just like minerals, vitamins are simpler substances which are ready-made or which are directly absorbed into the body. Next, Funk classified vitamins into two types based on their solubility. I repeat, vitamins are classified into two types based on their solubility and also based on whether they can be stored for a longer time or they cannot be stored. And one more thing, children, vitamins are provided to the body from foods, from external source. Most of the vitamins are provided from the external source, mainly through foods we eat. But some of the vitamins like vitamin K and vitamin D, they are synthesized in the body. Now classification of vitamins. Vitamins can be classified into two types. Fat soluble vitamins and water soluble vitamins. Vitamins are classified into two types, fat soluble and water soluble. By the name itself, these vitamins are soluble or they dissolve in fats. I told you earlier, uses of fats. Fats form an important solvent for some of the vitamins. Now, let us see which vitamins are soluble in fats. They are vitamin A, D, E, K. Vitamins are abbreviated with capital letters. Okay, and each of the vitamin have their chemical names, which are not very important at 9th standard. Okay, but still some of the chemical names I'll be using it. Like vitamin A is called retinol, calciferol, phylloquine. So like that you have chemical names. Those are not important in the syllabus, but still if you want to learn, you can learn from the textbook. Most important is you should be aware of at least one of the sources and the deficiency diseases. Okay children? These are the fat soluble vitamins. Now what are the water soluble vitamins? Vitamin B complex is a complex of several vitamins. Therefore it is called B complex. It contains B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B11, B12, etc. So this vitamin contains several other types, several subtypes of vitamins. Therefore it is called vitamin B complex. Okay. Now this is the first water soluble vitamin. Then next you have vitamin C, ascorbic acid. So children, vitamins are first identified by Casimir Funk. They are called vital amines, essential constituents for healthy growth of the body, both physical and mental. Vitamins are to be supplied through external sources. Next, vitamins are classified into two categories, fat soluble and water soluble. Fat soluble vitamins are vitamin A, D, E and K. Water soluble vitamins are B complex. You have so many other subtypes, and vitamin C. Now coming to each of the vitamins and their deficiency diseases. Vitamin A, you know children, you can learn the sources. Vitamin A is found both in vegetarian diet and non-vegetarian diet. Okay, it is found in carrots and some of the yellow colored fruits, vegetables, meat, etc. And vitamin A is very, very important for the functioning of eye, especially for vision. I repeat, vitamin A is very important for vision, for the functioning of your retina, where the image is formed. In 10th standard, you will be learning about the structure of eye. Okay, you have the retina, the part where actually the images are formed. Okay. So children, you know light, you have lens also, where the light is received by the lens and it is focused onto the retina, and retina forms images and we can see. Okay. So for visualizing various objects, for sight, for vision, for functioning of our eyes, we need vitamin A. It is called retinol. Retinol, as it is helping in functioning of retina, it got the name as retinol. Now, what happens if the diet is deficient in vitamin A? Yes, it leads to two diseases. One is night blindness. Night blindness. That means a person fails to see in dim light or in the nights where there is no light. That is called night blindness. Second is xerophthalmia. Second is xerophthalmia. Dryness, what 10 minutes? That means dryness of 5 to 10 minutes. Dryness of the eye, where the eyes fail to secrete tears. So these are the two deficiency diseases of vitamin A. Now next, coming to vitamin D. Vitamin D is synthesized in the body from ultraviolet rays. Ultraviolet rays coming from the sun. So sun is the cheapest source of vitamin D. And this vitamin D indirectly help in the absorption of calcium and phosphorus. So already we discussed, children, these two are the important minerals for the formation of bones, and so vitamin D indirectly help in translocating calcium phosphates in the bones and teeth. Mainly they help in strengthening of bones. Again, what happens if vitamin D is deficient? That leads to either rickets in children, already I mentioned, or osteomalacia in adults, where the bones become very fragile, weak, easily get fractured, etc. So vitamin D is important for the absorption of calcium, indirectly useful for bones and teeth, mainly bones. If vitamin D is lacking, that causes rickets in children, osteomalacia. Vitamin D is not in the syllabus. Now coming to vitamin K. Vitamin K is very important for blood clotting and also for the formation of hemoglobin, just like iron. So a person whose diet is lacking vitamin K leads to hemorrhage, where the process of blood clotting. What is blood clotting? Whenever there is an injury, children, the blood oozes out. Immediately there is a clot formed over the injured part. Stoppage of flow of blood is called blood clotting, which is natural phenomena. So it is brought about by some of the blood clotting factors present in the blood, and also vitamin K, calcium ions also important in blood clotting. If the person is lacking this vitamin A and calcium ions, fails to undergo blood clotting, delays, prolonged, as a result, the person loses more and more blood. That's called hemorrhage. So that's about fat soluble vitamins. Now coming to water soluble vitamins. Children, we are not going to do all the vitamins, only important vitamins like vitamin B1 is called thiamine. So most of the B complex vitamins are found in whole grains. So B1 is called thiamine, which is very important for it plays an important role for your digestion. Okay, it improves your appetite. Okay, it helps in absorption of food. So overall growth of the body. Now what happens if the diet is lacking this vitamin? It causes a disease called beriberi. It causes a disease called beriberi, inflammation, burning sensation. Okay, the person doesn't feel like eating, etc. Beriberi. The person loses his nervous activity, poor musculature, inflammatory senses. All these are seen in beriberi. Now next I go to vitamin B3, niacin. Niacin. So niacin is very important for the functioning of nervous system, and also very important for having a glowing skin. For your skin to be soft and healthy, you have to supply vitamin B3. The diet which is lacking vitamin B3 will lead to a disease called pelvic, where a person have all kinds of rashes on the body, lesions are seen. Okay. So these are the symptoms of pelvic. Now coming to vitamin B11 and B12 cyanocobalamin. These two are very important for the formation of blood. Especially vitamin B11 is important for the formation or synthesis of hemoglobin, just like iron. I told you lack of iron leads to anemia, so same. Deficiency of vitamin B11 causes anemia. B12 cyanocobalamin is very important for the formation of RBCs. So lack of this vitamin will cause pernicious anemia. The main difference is anemia means loss in the hemoglobin and reduction in the oxygen carrying capacity. Pernicious anemia means in addition to anemia, the person suffers from diarrhea, vomiting, etc. That's about the water soluble vitamins. B complex. Now last vitamin is vitamin C. Vitamin C is called ascorbic acid, and this is mainly found in citrus fruits like lemon, oranges. Children, these are found in citrus fruits like lemons and oranges, and it is very important for the functioning of your gums. So lack of vitamin C leads to a disease called scurvy. Where the gums start bleeding. So that's about the various vitamins. Okay children, last water. Water is very important. You all know 2/3 of the body weight constitute water, and water is the excellent solvent, universal solvent, and we all have to drink water. Apart from supplying all these nutrients, water is also very essential constituent. Children, it is the main medium for the transportation of digested food, respiratory gases, excretory wastes are transported by blood, by water. And water is an important constituent of protoplasm. Now, loss and replacement of water. We keep losing water from the body. How children? Yes, now it is very hot, so I am sweating a lot. So all the water content is coming out of my body through sweat. So children, water is lost. So water is lost either in the form of sweat, urine, or sometimes in the form of water vapor. Continuously our kidneys filter excess of water and we throw out in the form of urine. When the temperatures are high, we lose water from the body in the form of sweat. When we exhale out along with carbon dioxide, some of the water vapor is also lost. So these are the 3 ways by which we lose water from the body. If we continuously lose water, then we become dehydrated and we may become weak and fatigued. That may lead to death also. Therefore, we have to replace the loss of water. So how do we replace it? Again, you take water-rich fruits, vegetables, or directly you can take many glasses of water or in the form of juices. Also, our body will compensate the loss of water. So, children, by this I finished the lesson nutrition. We will be posting you some of the assignments in nutrition. Please read the lesson and solve the assignments. Thank you. Have a nice day.